All right. It's time to do pawn. I just forget to try to prep the music though. Hello. Happy Tuesday. Rar. You don't come into my stream and threaten me. Rar. Okay. Oh, it's from your channel. Well, thanks for the follow. I haven't even done anything yet. I appreciate the anticipation for something good. I did a lot on this the last couple days. I'm not actually going to be working on this shot. I'm going to be working on the other shot, but I think this one is done, like this shot. But I added a lot of stuff. I still have to do these two and figure out where, like, Twilight's, you know, not gonna be following up on her meth addiction. But I think everything else. Good evening. Is mostly done. So the main concern I had originally was this is an establishing shot, which is going to be black because I had to load the other map, but I didn't like the buildings in it, and I figured out a solution for that. And I don't want to load it right now, but it allowed me to put the buildings in the other shots, so that's what I did. So I took these. These are Fallout buildings, and that's the right one. Which look like this. And I just found a standard texture for like an overlay of siding somewhere online, and I just put it and replaced the texture with it, and it actually ended up like looking pretty good. So it is just a gray texture. I used the overrides to override the gray to whatever color I wanted. It just made it easier than me saving like 8 different texture colors. I can just use one texture color, then just override all the rest. So I did a bunch of these houses, and if you go to kind of this one, you can see that the establishing shot had houses along the ledge, and so I just I placed what did you do, Twilight? I placed the house on top of the lower poly houses from the original map, and it looks way better. I still have to fill some of these establishing shots with people that are anticipated to be in this situation, like the main 6, and maybe some students in the background. And I need to play with the sky so that it blends with the other shots. But getting there. But I went through all these shots then and added in. The camera kind of just stops. Am I using the right camera for this? Yeah, I'm supposed to use this one. Oh, wait. Oh, it was a lower angle that I had that one for. But it gives, the reason I had a problem with this shot before was when you have all like the houses and stuff off, it just felt like there was nothing to put her to any plane of existence other than just the horse statue. But this gave her that. It put her into the real world a bit more, and I like that. I still have some things I want to potentially think about, because there are some shots that would have the school kind of showing a little bit, so I need to figure out how I can potentially show it. Hello, Shadow. Yeah, she does. I thought you were just making a joke, but that is what I call it. She swoos. Swoos. Can't, that was from Shaggy from swoosh right in. So I went through all these shots and I added that. So on this one, I added them in the background too. I think this one I didn't really care, and it doesn't really match with the other ones. But this is the one that there would potentially be part of the building popping up here. And I don't know how to go about that really. Especially in this shot, because it turns around to have it be partially visible here. And actually from this angle, I probably would need to add the statue, because why don't you see it at the beginning? So let's just do that right now. Horse statue. Horses. But it helps a lot. I did change the angle that this came in at, because at the end of it, it was still too high to where you weren't actually seeing the background, because it was just angled to like end right up here. So I did change that to go transition to the camera being higher and aimed down further, so that you could get that relation. And let's move. Do I even have to move it? Yeah, I do. Where are you, horse statue? You are nowhere near where I want you. It'd be better if I was more consistent in my placement of things. It is a high angle, so I can get away with kind of being out of the shot a little bit. I don't think I remember adding this one to my list. No, I think it did. I think it's because of how it ends. It's going to be dark for right now, but that's fine. We will move it. Where is it, like, in comparison to her in this shot? It's quite a ways. But it is, like, right behind her, so yeah, I'm going to move it, like, we're going to say, like, right here. Where are you, horse statue? I lost you. We're not even in the shot anymore. Stupid horse. Yeah, there. And then, okay, that is the right angle, too. Okay. Oh, I want to make more tutorials, too. Appreciate it, though. I have, like, 3 that I've actually recorded, and I think I just never released. A lot of it is because I just wasn't happy with the information I was presented. Sometimes I just like hit record and then like wing it, and it doesn't always work out. Most of them are done that way. Or I just felt that it was a topic that really didn't need to be covered in such in-depth whatever. So, hello, doo-doo. It's weird to say. But no, I appreciate it. I'll hopefully come up with one soon. Right now, my priority is finishing this. Alright, so I'll worry about the lighting of that later, but it is there. I did add here, so when the rocket hits, it was basically an advertising board, so I thought it would be funny to add this. And this is kind of a throwback to Luna's Banishment, where I had a cannon that had the word friendship like swirled on it, and this time I decided to make it a little bit more printed, and then just implied whatever 12 means. Could you tell how to make graphic effects when a unicorn uses their magic? Oh, you're talking like the particle effect. There's that was weird. 3 parts to that. So for one, on my DeviantArt, I have that particle effect. I made it a long time ago. Did I pass it? Yeah, I passed it. It's just like her, like Pinkie Pie floating by. Okay, where is it? There it is, right here. It's called levitation, which is main use for it, but I almost exclusively use it for actually like doing the magic on horns. So here, I'll link this for you. And I've never really updated this because it hasn't really had a need for it. So there's 3 different sizes, and it's really because to make it easier for you if you don't want to deal with like changing the amount of particles in something. Small and medium are more for like really tiny things. It just has less particles because otherwise, if you go to a very large object and you don't have enough, it's kind of like all over the place. And then if you put a very large object or a very small object with too many, it's like overcrowded. You can really play with the numbers a little bit. But so this is part 1, is getting this downloaded so you at least have a particle to work from. Part 2 is then attaching it to the model, which is what Shadow kind of was saying. So there is instructions. I don't have to go into the detail of that. This provides a written up thing for it, and did I make a video on it? No. There's a written up expression, indication of how it works, but if you need more information on how to attach a particle to a model, there is I'm going to double check this there. Yeah, so this describes how to do that. The reason for it is because you want to make a horn glow, but if you attach it to a model, you're going to attach it to the whole model. So like Shadow King said, he attached it to a beer bottle. I'll usually just load a log or something, and you put it and you like jam it in the head. So let me kind of do that quick. So we'll just load, let's just say a Twilight Sparkle. Okay. And then I'm going to load in that particle system. So I'm going to go a little quick, but this is recorded. So for the purpose of, you can just kind of go like back and forth on it later if you want. I'm going to load up that particle effect, which was Magic Aura, I think. And I'll usually, I think I usually still use large on this just because I like customizing things to my own need. Don't use sparkles. That is inside of the large one. It'll come with it. So just do large, and then I'm gonna say I want it to run the whole time. So I'm gonna say from a time before this. So I'm gonna say like 28, and it's just gonna run 15 seconds. So this is saying start at second 28, emit for 15 seconds, but it will still maintain a lifetime for 15 seconds. That actually is different because one that's created at the very end of that first 15 seconds still has 15 seconds to potentially live past that. So, okay. So now you're gonna have your particle here. Now, they don't always show up when you're in a shot. You're gonna have to exit the shot and then come back for it to actually show up. And you're just gonna get a big old ball of white. And that's because it doesn't know where to put that particle yet. So we're going to give it something to. If I attach it to this model, it would she would become magic, and she kind of is, but we don't need it like glowing all over. So we need to find something else to do it to. So I'm going to just load up a model, and it legitimately doesn't matter what you use for this, as long as it's something that's like a little longer and oblong, like a horn. There is even a horn model you can grab. But I like keeping things simpler, so I just go and find, where's my log model? There it is. So this is the log model I tend to use. So that is definitely a little bigger than her head. So we don't want it that big. We're gonna shrink it down. So I'm gonna add a scale control and get it down to about, let's say that big. I'm just going to put it to about the horn's position. And it doesn't have to be exact. You're not going to actually see the log when we're done. So this is going to clip a little bit into her head. That's fine. All right, so that looks good. She's like a Teletubby. So now we have a base to work from to attach the magic to, but we still have to attach it to it. So for that, it's kind of this is like a two-step process. It's kind of annoying. You have to copy a reference to the model, and then you have to paste it into the reference that the particle effect is looking for. So this is written on the thing, so don't worry if you can't remember everything here. But I right-click it, show an element viewer model. It's going to pop up all the info here. Then we're going to go up one parent folder. And then you can open the children here, and it says log game model, or it might say something different for the others. And we're just going to copy this, but it should be the one under children. Then we're going to go to our particle, show an element viewer particle system, and then at the bottom here it says control models. This is the models that are the particles attaching to. So this is, we're going to right-click and say paste special, not paste, paste special as reference. So then it's going to connect the two separate ones. If you just did paste, it's going to paste the actual model. You want to paste the reference to the one that already exists. We have special, voila. So I use large, so it's overly glowy because there's just way more particle effects, but we can reduce that a little bit. Now, there's one interesting thing to remember with this. So you'll probably be like, well, I want to make sure that this moves around with her horn. So you're going to grab her, oops, in there. I'm going to grab her head, and we're going to lock the head to this. Problem is, when you do this, you're going to notice that it probably isn't going to it's no longer going to be attached correctly. When the model that you are using for its base is locked to an object, its position on it gets kind of confused and won't work right. So I recommend doing the magic like at the very end when you're done with all your animating, because you'll lock it to whatever, her head or whatever, and make sure that it stays and moves with the head for all the motion, and then you'll just unlock it. And it will still move with the head as long as you don't move the head differently anymore. But then it will go back to actually being attached correctly. So in this case, though, so that's step 2, getting it locked and getting the particle loaded. Step 3 is then modifying the particle to kind of fit whatever needs you have. In this case, 2 things. I use the large one, so it's way too many particles. And 2, her magic's not white. We want purple. So I'm going to right-click this. I'm going to go to Instance. So this is going to take all the particle properties and it's going to save it inside of this file. So then it's no longer pulling from the one from the one that I've opened. It's now custom to whatever this exact shot is. That means when we right click it now, it's not going to say instance anymore. So we're going to go edit particle system, magic aura large. So this is going to be your main glow. So there's two options I'm going to worry about in here. One is color random, definitely for your color. And then the other one is going to be for emit continuously. This is the one where you're going to probably want to drop this number a little bit. This is way too bright. So let's drop it to like 250. So it's 1/4 the speed and still too bright. So let's drop that again. Let's try 100. Yeah, that's a little better. And I'm just going to hide the log so you can just kind of see it. That's still really bright. Let's try a little bit smaller. Yeah, let's try a little bit more. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. So for the color, my recommendations are for the magic effect to find the color that you're looking for and then have one of them as deep into the color as possible. And then the other one the same, but go about like either halfway towards white or like two-thirds towards the color. I'm gonna go about halfway, I think. And what that does is it lets it vary a little bit between a lighter version of the particle and a much brighter. So you're still gonna get that bright magic effect, but it's not gonna be, if you just do a flat color without the random, it's not gonna pulsate with color, it's just gonna be a flat color. So it's nice having it pulsate a little bit. Don't go pure white because then it kind of loses some of that color you're looking for. So I'm gonna probably go a little bit into the white here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So that is for the glow effect. But now we have these little sparkles, and you probably want the sparkles to do it too. So we're gonna do the same thing, right click, edit particle, go to sparkles. Now for these, let's go color random. And I'm gonna do the same thing, but instead for these, I'm gonna go the kind of inverse. I'm gonna choose a color that's kind of in the middle white. I'm gonna do a little higher there. And then for this one, we're basically gonna make it white. And that's because we want the sparkles to stand out and be a brighter color. Oh.
Oh.
I was wondering what that was.
It's volume 3.
Freaking silly Lyra book.
Yes, I have the first 2 volumes.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I ordered 3. I didn't want the first 2.
No, I already have the first 2.
That's neat. I was wondering what that was.
That's what happened.
I thought you were a brochure or something. So you can see here now because the sparkles are slightly whiter, they stand out more. Otherwise, if they're matching the color of the purple, they're going to kind of blend in and you kind of miss the point of being sparkles. So that's my recommendation. It doesn't matter if it's purple, blue, whatever. I think I even put in this. So yeah, I should have used small because that was about 250, but that's fine. Yep, so this actually does explain kind of what I find to be the best values for stuff. And that's really how you guess you do it. If you want to do a levitation particle effect, like it's surrounding an object, it's the exact same process. It's just instead of the log, you do it to whatever object you're doing. Do know that the particle effect attaches itself not to the model, but to basically its hitbox, which might be different. So if you have an object that has a lot of concave pieces, so let's say a plane that has like wings that go out to the side and whatever, its hitbox might not be exactly what's visible. It might have made it super basic and just like made the closest point and made one convex object all the way around. There's a lot of reasons in the source engine as to why that's done. I think you only can do like 18 to 20 concave or convex objects to make a bounding box. So because of that, that means that like an area between a wing and the top of the plane might glow the whole way in that empty space. So if that's the case, and you really need it just to follow the object, just do like the horn, load in other objects that are about the size of it, and just lock it inside the object, and then make like 3 or 4 different objects that all have the magic effect running individually. I've done that before. Like I had a sign once that I think I had the pole and then a big piece of the end, but it was going the whole alarm, like all the empty space too. And it worked. So I hope that answers the question. It's finicky. The attaching to models, mainly that locking thing is kind of annoying, but yeah, it should work. Kill Twilight now. Anyways, thanks for the question. And if you still have a question, more let me know. And then Matt is I'm still fighting with Waxcycles Legendary, so I'm not pouring this time. Oh, okay. Oh, no, Waxcycles are fun. Okay, good. And hopefully that helped. Anyways, on this, I'm pointing at you too. So yeah, I added this. This is a negative light. So I didn't want to. Oh, well, and I did change the rocket. It was using a low poly rocket. I went and swapped out to the high poly rocket. But I felt like I was going to lose some quality if I tried to use the actual textures to do this. So instead, it is a light. And I keep forgetting I need to... it is a negative light, so it's a slightly negative brightness. And to do that, that means that I actually had to make it an inverse. I had to invert the colors on the image so that when I went into the negative, it actually would show correctly. And if I go really low, the red, you can't really get more red than red, but Twilight can definitely get more purple. So I kind of had to play around to find a balance where she would show right. The one thing I think is kind of cool though is that it kind of has this like metallic, like purple sheen on her face, and that's kind of cool. I like that. And this thing is funny. I removed all the fire effects too, because there was nothing done that made fire, and there was nothing I could figure out to cause fire that would not just leave it being a confusion, because jumping from this shot, which was just impact, to suddenly everything on fire just didn't make any sense.
You should just use the same logic they always use in the show. Pony magic. To fill in any gaps. It's like the Force. It's just
if you create
the gaps.
If you have somebody stop and go at any point and go, wait, that didn't make any sense, they're not paying attention, and then if there's any jokes, then they get lost. And if they get lost, then all the rest of the jokes after that don't follow suit. So I don't want to get anybody confused, or they just lose track of where they are.
Magic.
Yeah, yes. The bean magic.
Yes.
So I went through here and I removed all the fire effects. I still have it in like a group, so if I potentially want to go back to it, I can. I hate deleting things. And I still feel like I have to play around with the lighting a little bit on this one. But it's fine. I'll get to it for now. But I did add some of the buildings in the background here, so then it was adding a little bit more distance. I have to replace the image that's on that screen because it's old. From here, nothing's changed though. It's all been the same. I did try looking up nuclear stock video, and I couldn't find any that worked. Most of the ones that I've saw were on channels that took, yes, it's 20 for mics. No, all the ones that I found were on these channels that they just had stock bits, and they just put text over it, explaining like all the testing. Well, I can't use it if it's text over it. It's a government video, so if I can find a clear version of it, it's a free thing to use. But I just couldn't find any. Like, none really worked. Or the ones that did look cool were over water. I need to find one that's on land. So I just need to dig around a bit more.
Well, the old videos of them exploding nuclear bombs, most of that took place on islands, so...
Yeah, no, there's a lot of... There's like the one where they did nuclear testing on like a few thousand soldiers, where they put them into like right outside the nuclear bombs blast and then blew it up and then had them run in. Safety. But There are some. I just have to find what works because I want to have this run for about 5 seconds, and I just wasn't having any luck. Or the one that worked, the explosion from the point that the explosion starts to the point that you can actually see what's going on is so long that it doesn't work, and I need to go from the point of explosion forward.
I guess you couldn't use the scene from the day after tomorrow. Or...
But if I use a movie, then I have more potential for copyright stuff. So I want to get that's a government stock image. It's public. So, how long are you working on this animation? It's today until 8, and then but otherwise I've been the file name is November 9th, and that was of 2018. I have been working on it on and off. So. So yeah, yeah, just and then the racket comes back.
Problem solved.
And he's like, the fuck happened? But tsunami. Well, I need to have it from the beginning of the explosion. A lot of them have like boats and everything around there because they were doing a lot of testing with that. Or there was a bunch of space ones that were really cool looking, but they're yeah. But I did start poking at. I opened the wrong one. I didn't like the way. Actually, I guess I can show the one thing. I didn't like the way that the one shot here transitioned from Spike going here to this.
Now fire the rocket.
I felt that was such a quick transition and didn't really make much sense and was very jarring. So mainly like this isn't established. How did she get there? That kind of stuff. So we fixed that. Kind of. Still working on it. It adds about like 10 seconds to the video, but most of it's actually already done, so that's fine. So I had to add a little thing to this shot here. How much longer did SFM crash? Actually, when this swapped, my RAM went down. Normally it just keeps going up, so it'll crash eventually. But now instead of that jarring transition, I added a transition.
It's in! Let's go launch the rocket!
Yeah, okay. That was cute. That's all we did there. That smile.
We were having I was working on this yesterday on Discord, on a Discord stream, and we were having fun just doing this.
She's so happy. Die. Look at that.
I just do it forever. But I wanted to have an elevator transition, and the original idea was to have her. I wanted this angle because I kind of thought this was it connected the two portions.
It's a cute angle.
But I wanted to actually have her turn around, and then I was going to have the camera go down here, and then have her say, "Let's go launch the rocket." And then there is normally a door. Yeah, there's a door right here, and it's going to have her go through that and have that be an elevator. But that would require me animating walking bits and a turnaround in the elevator, and then her trying to do something in an elevator. I wanted it to be a slow elevator, in either that the elevator took too long and dragged on, or in the case like I did use it, this using that door would have been a lot more work. And then once she gets to the top, how do I get her to that platform? I just decided to skip all of it, and I just took the platform that she was on and made that the one that she goes up with, and problem solved. And it ended up, being funny because, again, I wanted it to be slow. Because it just slow is funny. I will have to play around with this a little bit because right here, this is clipping through the floor. It needs to be like a dark area. To do the scissor lift with this, I just loaded 2 beams and they all rotate from the middle. I just took the 2 beams, rotated them both, I think like 30 degrees or something. And then at one point, and then I did another point where I rotated them like 5 degrees and just made it so that they hinged, and then I just timed it so that they moved up and down at the right pace. None of them are locked together actually, but it actually turned out pretty good. And this actually goes down a bit. And those, they're not even real, they're just rusted beams. I didn't care. So yeah, I from this point, because here she is actually talking to the viewer, I felt it was okay to have her actually look at the viewer.
Let's go launch the rocket!
Because now Spike's not there, so she has to do it to somebody, I guess. But I didn't know what to have her do this whole time as it's going up, so that's why I was just like,
Why can you
have her do that? I don't know if that's going to be the final positioning for it. If I have her move this leg down more, I could have her get to a further lean, but I don't know. But then again, I just wanted it to be this.
Yes. So good.
And I think we have an eye twitch in here too when she's coming up. The only difficulty with this is that she goes from this stupid face to then like angry.
Now fire the rocket!
I see the issue.
And even then, like, her butt is on the wrong side. It's on the left side, but I had it on the right, so I have to have it just slide around.
Now fire!
But
Looks like she just snaps still. Like she's just in a comatose state when she's rising up against her face movements.
well, I thought about having it when she stops, that she just still has the face and just kind of bounces a little bit from the pressure of it. But then it's, I feel like it's more funny if I only do it while she's going up, and then immediately change it. But I think I might have to take away some of the anger so it transitions better. She is. But yeah, so that's I put all this portion together yesterday, in a couple hours. I was worried that I was going to be like adding a whole bunch more work, but really, no. The scene build was already done. I just copied it from a previous shot. The lip sync I have to do again, and I had to but I've already redone the lighting, and got a lot of the keyframe done. Getting everything else set was not actually that difficult, so it really didn't feel like I'm wasting, or I'm not falling into more scope creep anyway.
More than you already have.
Yeah. Well, and actually, this is something that will only take a few hours of work to add like 10 seconds to the video, which is actually quite a bit of time. So, I am happy with it. I will have to play with her feet a little bit. She's kind of clipping a little bit right there. And there.
Good stuck.
But before any of that, I need...
That cheese wasn't great.
You just had a whole half a pizza.
Yeah.
And then you had more cheese. We could have put like a slice of bread and tomato paste on the bread there and just had more pizza.
But I was just saying how the cheese wasn't that great. It was good enough.
You could have just made a joke with it being great. It wasn't great because you had ate it without. Great.
It was good enough. Oh.
You're fired.
I can't eat Gouda without making that joke. Supporting. Look at that face. It's adorable.
No, so I have to do the lip syncing for this. So I had to make a separate model because it's hard to lip sync when she's moving around. I was thinking I could cheat this a little bit with the lip sync because she's using a lot of words that were already in other bits, like
Let's go launch the rocket.
I might be able to take some of that. Originally, I wasn't going to, but
Now fire the rocket.
yeah, I think I can. I was concerned before that the way she said rocket wasn't going to transition, but I think it will.
That horse make funny noises.
Just like she was saying, "Fuck it."
Crude horses.
This is like my favorite part now.
So happy.
Oh, actually, So this model is actually not the same as the model up top, or not top. It's just a different shot. It is using the older version of the facial expressions. So I don't actually think I can paste it, because if I do,
Don't go saying it like that now. I just sit here and drink alcohol and eat cheese.
yeah, there's nothing. I'm not able to copy paste it. I would have to convert her model to the other model. Yeah, he's only here because I tell him to go away and he just keeps coming back.
It's true.
But that's welcome, Grim. Yeah, this is the fourth and final Sideswipe that I'll be doing. Not that I don't want to do more. It's just that I'm out of audio for this voice actor. I actually tried looking up other voices that they've done to see if I can find something that matches. Can't find anything. Do I want to convert this to the other model? I kind of want to, because it'll make I could do a lot better lip syncing job, but it does take a little bit. Yeah, might as well. So that's the reason that if I look at, well, actually, I separated the lab code in this one too. I did. That makes that a little easier.
Yeah, I see how autocorrect accidentally spelled help instead of is a distraction. Who sits here and wonders why he hasn't eaten those nuts yet? They've been there for like 2 months. It's crazy. Why is she bald now?
So I will have to do this.
I don't like the horse. Yay. Wait. No, something worse is happening.
I'll fix it. There, fixed.
What have you done? You put a Twilight inside Twilight.
No, so I have to, I'm using the hair. I hit all the textures on one model to get all the hair out of it, and I'm using the lab code from a different bit, and then I'm using the Twilight that has the better details for the other parts. But it's still got all the lip syncing for the other parts, so it's gonna be like her throwing her mouth around for nothing. She's just yelling at nothing. She's just angry now. Like this is.
Let's go launch the rocket.
It just looks like somebody's like dubbed over her and she's just cursing at the camera, but it wasn't family friendly, so it was like, yay.
Yeah, so I'll have to redo some of the facial stuff. That's fine. Oh, I can't rename that yet. So this will be for when you never delete stuff. So old, or never delete until you know. Okay. Not 100% done yet. So this is going to be the official sparkle. So lab coat, coat in here. Okay, and one of you's wings is being a butt. That is this one. That should have, or maybe it's not that one. No, it's that one. But your wings are. Oh no, that's your closed wing. Right? Yeah. Well, I can see it. I think that is a glitch.
She looks like she's like trying to absorb some sunlight, like a solar panel.
Because I can't see any of that here, but if I grab her wings and increase it, I can see one small part. Oh, I know why. Never mind. It's not a glitch. There we go. Okay, fixed. Kind of reminds me of Octodad for some reason.
I can see that. The big old another guy.
She's got the face.
Yeah, it's the happy face. It's the I just took a lot of drugs face.
It's in. Let's go launch the rocket.
I'm gonna make sure the eyes are positioned right for this stuff. Did they stay? Yeah, they did. Okay, perfect. Yeah, it's like it is kind of like the old school anime lip sync. Something else is showing 3 minutes delayed. There'll be a lot of setup. Okay, I think that should make this fine now. I don't really care about that anymore. So now it's just instead of 2 models, it's 3, but whatever. Okay. Now I can do the thing I was going to do.
Let's go launch the rocket. Launch the rocket.
It's actually. Oh, now I almost moved it to where I needed to be.
Goodbye.
Alright, see you later, Grim.
Go launch the rocket. Launch the rocket.
Okay, so
Launch the rocket.
it's kind of there, but she's also very angry, and I don't want her angry.
She anger horse.
I need her back to her neutral pose here. I'll just go 0 on this. Okay, bye-bye.
Yay.
What was that?
This is my phone buzzing. I try to turn it down. What?
I hear what you're doing.
No. Why you always gotta give me away phone?
Keep her smiling there.
Let's the rocket.
Okay.
Let's go launch the rocket.
Okay. When you hold it where you're like this, it's so obvious.
Maybe I'm looking at porn. You don't know. Could be.
Sure. Are you gonna jerk Buru?
Shakes head.
It's shipping. Okay, her upper face is bugging me.
It's in.
Okay, I also need to fix that skin for this. This is...
Let's go launch the rocket.
Okay.
Let's go launch the rocket.
Who's that from? Oh, it's you. Derpy and no inside coming.
Yep, it was completely out of nowhere.
I know, completely. Like, I don't know how you did that. You're ninja.
I ninja'd it.
Yep.
I was just over here looking at porn and somehow derpy. It's amazing. I know, right?
Let's go launch the rocket. Launch the rocket.
Okay, I'm gonna remove a little bit of her anger from this. Let's remove all of it. And we're going to grab the bone for the mouth.
She's singing. Oh no. Oh. Why? Why you torture horse? She wants nothing but your hugs and boops.
She's got her mouth open. Okay, what is causing that open? Shout? Partially? Oh, it's a lot of this. So we need to have that drop down a little bit earlier. And have her more teeth. Now I gotta do the rest of it. Oh, and actually I was supposed to like, not use this model for this. There. Oh. I realized her ears are wonky. I don't think default's gonna work. Nope, that's gonna collapse them. Just manually move them back. So it must have been that the rotations were just very different between the two models.
Play with your ears. Very cute.
That's what I was waiting for, but you weren't even paying attention.
I was looking at the chat. I didn't know you thought. Go play with your ears again. They're cute. Well, she has like kitty ears. Look at that. Oh no, wait. No, there are.
No, there's a shadow that's in the way there.
But you did something weird to him.
It's in! Let's go launch the rocket!
Ow, actually. That's what I thought. That's still not right. So even though I can't see the ear, they are still there, and they will create shadows. So I'm just going to shrink them down. There.
The shadows?
Even if you can't see a model, it doesn't matter. Like even here, you can kind of see that there's something in front of her. Oh, this is actually because of Twilight. Never mind. But you will have it where if you use an alpha to hide textures on something, even though you can't see the model, it's still casting a shadow.
Ah.
So in that case, the ears were in front of it and blocking the light and causing a shadow that for an object you couldn't see. So I had to shrink them down. Okay.
Now, seeing these two Twilights gave me an idea for another shipping video.
She's a narwhal.
No. She is, though.
Don't think of it as a sideways head. Think of it as like she's a fish, and this is like the little back of it. She's just one big eye.
I can see it, yes. Did you know that unicorns are the narwhals of the land? It's true. Yes. Oh, Twifish, why? It's like a purple flounder. I feel like she's just cloning an army now. That's another extension you could add to the video.
That's my Doors 3 short.
I don't like to think about that short because you murdered a poor horse.
No, she is a clone. But which one's the clone?
Well, the one you murdered was the one who started, and then you.
Yeah.
And then
But maybe she was just waiting for her cue.
she was the one hanging out with her friends and had.
I didn't murder her. She's just being contained and for a later moment. Yeah. See, humans are destroying the world. A pony here and there is fine.
No. Let all humans die off.
At least it was painless.
Was it? She looked terrified before she smashed into the wall.
Yeah, but she had no pain receptors because she was a clone. That's how clones work, right?
No.
Then I might need to recheck my morals.
Yes, that's why that one episode, Too Many Pinkie Pies, is horrifying. Twilight, they felt it when they died.
For context, the
one where he murders Twilight.
Yeah, this one. So this is the doors submission I was talking about.
She's like smacked or something. She's alive. I'm alive. I love life. Dead.
She's fine.
It's okay to hate him now.
Technically, they weren't on the same part of the screen, so it was just a green screen effect. She fell down, and then when they woke up, they put her up top, and then they just overlaid it. Yeah. That's what I tell the kids.
Tell the jokes. Don't say nice. That's not the reaction to have.
No, I think it's appropriate.
Murdered a pony. And you're just like, nice. Thumbs up.
You know, my favorite thing is murder.
Let's go.
Murder.
Go lunch.
Why is your... It's because you're on a Twitch. Oh. I don't know why that was a problem.
Yeah, she's hairless.
She is hairless because of...
She joined a cult.
Oh, this is all by body group. There it is. Is that better?
Strangely, no, because your ears are still freaking me out. They're like,
they're like a divining rod for friendship.
Yeah.
His friendship is that way. If we go that way, we'll find friendship.
Yeah.
She can also smell friendship. She's like...
It's the gender who wants friendship. 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 I just want that now. I want a friendship track.
Friendship. Friendship. Friendship.
No. Poor Twilight. Got a bit of an underbite there, Twilight. Oh, it's sad. She didn't get enough oxygen in the womb.
It's like her. Your friendship.
It's awful.
Princess. Friendship.
They gave that title to her in elementary school. Like, you're the princess of friendship, Twilight, and she carried
Yay! Wait, if I do this one, it's better. I'm the princess. Wait, oh my god, I lost control of that real quick. Yeah. Princess. Princess is Wincest.
No. The images it conjures. It's not okay.
We had one on Discord yesterday that they thought was funny when I grabbed it. I think it was under memes. Yeah, it was this one. Well, that was one of them. But there's another one. Yeah, that one. Or like somebody wrote, yeah, when she sees an unread book.
I did hear you laughing at something.
There was some pretty good stuff. You know any hidden animations in this? No, because hidden animation implies that I had to do animation that wasn't shown, and normally I'm... oh god, I forgot I had that face.
No, you did. There is a hidden animation. Bird.
Well, all it is the bird falls over. That's that animation.
It's funny.
Just...
And then you do something with the doctor. Oh, that's right, Derpy. He turned into Derpy at one point, though I don't know if that's still in here.
It still does this though.
Let's go launch the
That,
rocket.
like the little half crooked smile, like.
Hey.
Did you take that one out?
Hmm?
The one where the doctor turns into Derpy.
I don't even remember that one.
You had the hammer come down instead of a brain, it was just Derpy. I remember because it involved Derpy.
I don't think I would have kept the model there. No, she's not here.
A waste. That's brilliant. I thought you should have kept it that way at the time. Because of course I did.
Oh, okay, so you're just talking like goofy stuff in the background. The most like I know the main one is Spike here. We had this just read on that. I don't know if I really saved any though.
He's done lots of goofy stuff. He just doesn't keep them.
Yeah, a lot of times I just delete it because it just takes a couple minutes anyway. But it's also, there's not many times I'm loading things. A lot of times I'm just playing with the things that are already there. Yeah, I don't think so otherwise.
If I leave Twitch open on my phone, it starts to get hot.
Well, yeah, because it's doing things and you don't have a case.
Yes.
I'm surprised you haven't broken it yet.
I'm very good about not dropping my phone.
I've tried my phone like probably a dozen times.
What you need is a
But using an OtterBox, this thing could take tons of hits.
Yeah, that's good.
So, well, especially the corners. The corners are super padded.
You use your phone.
So, yeah, I mean, I've had it for, I think it's like over 3 years and still just works perfectly fine.
Pudding face. Pudding face.
Pudding.
That's a cute face right there.
All I did was ever do that. And you're like, oh! And then it's like, oh!
A pony looking up is just okay. That's cute. Look at that. Look at that face. She wants cat treats or something. Oh no! Yes. Look at that.
Apparently there's some flipping.
It's a
Oh,
dog.
I know that's in it, but
That's too cute. That will cause heart attacks. No, she's shifty. She's really pretty thin.
he's like, ah! See, she's got, when she has itch, she just go,
That's weird. It must be hard
and the itch is done.
for ponies to scratch their backs. Back scratches.
So we got magic.
Oh, she's got magic, but what about the poor earth bones? They just have itchy backs.
Need a little bit of teeth. A little bit of O. A little bit of angry. Actually, normally I have pucker up a little bit as I'm going through, and this does not have it by default increase, so I need to put that up a little bit. Pucker, I feel like when you reduce pucker, it looks better than just increasing stretch, so I do.
Smiley horse. No. Going through a wind tunnel. The smile looks creepy.
This needs to open a lot more. Actually, this needs to go stretch quicker too. No, I like sometimes the look of wide, but it just is too much. Yeah, I hate lip syncing a lot. I don't mind it so much on Rathlos, just because Rathlos doesn't have these many bones. It's just simpler. But normally I hate it too. It's that was one of the things with adding these audio lines originally, was I had to do more lip syncing, and I was kind of like, do I want to for this? Especially since I had to do so much for Starlight, not Starlight, Sunset Shimmer, her evil form. So it was really annoying having to add more, but it wasn't a whole bunch of more or anything. It just depends on, like I said, I don't mind lip syncing on some things. I just do not like it. The more options I have for it, the more I dislike it. I think a lot of it is because lip syncing, at least how I do it, is about like shaving at it. So it takes multiple passes before you get a final product. Where like a lot of the animating things, it's not. I can get away with doing it a lot more like one-off. I can see what I want easier. Lip syncing, I just have to keep poking at it till it works. And sometimes it just gets to the point of frustrating. But besides the eyes, the mouth is the second most focused thing. Second most focused thing especially when they're talking. It probably takes over from the eyes. So it's important to have it be as detailed as it can.
You know, I still think that scene from Mr. Bean where he's got the turkey stuck on his head would be really good done with your OC. And then you wouldn't have to do any lip syncing because he doesn't talk.
But I would have to animate him flopping around with a turkey on his head. And in Mr. Bean, he has his hands up on the turkey. I can't. That would be worse than lip syncing. You're having me walk around with a pony on 2 legs, flopping around, custom animated, the whole thing, just so you can get your jollies. That's what commissions are for. You pay me, I'll do it.
Deprive the world of your OC with the turkey on his head.
I had somebody on the Rathless account that said, like, can you something specific? Can you animate this? And I just said I don't do commissions. Like, even though I think they were looking for a, like, here's a cool idea. You should do it because it would be cool to do it. And I'm like, no, because if you want me to do it, then I'm not doing it for free. And they just said, well, let me know if you ever do. So. But that also worries me.
Do you work for pizza?
What did you do?
I ate pizza, and then I'm drinking a cider.
When you picked up that pizza, so I guess that counts.
I picked up more pizza.
I thought you would. I was thinking of saying it, but then
Well, the main reason I was even going was for the cauliflower. So you really didn't need to say that one. Because I knew you needed it.
I was thinking about going tomorrow anyway because I'm out of shampoo. So I'm just going to pick that up probably tomorrow.
Use my shampoo.
No, because you get cheap stuff.
I got the Head & Shoulders, same as you.
No, but mine's the fancy one with the pump. I make it better.
Okay, sure.
Is it the Tune one?
No, it's a shampoo.
Well, mine's better. Mine has conditioner in it.
My hair is clean either way.
No, because if you just use shampoo, it gets it's the same thing when you use a cheap soap where you get like shiny, like clean. I don't like that.
I don't like the conditioner because it weighs my hair down too much.
What hair?
You're a funny guy.
It weighs it down too much.
It weighs it down too much. It makes it lay too flat. I like it to have a little bit of poof.
Because it's okay.
Because it makes it look thicker.
So you don't want to actually hydrate your hair.
No, I want it to be kind of frizzy. Like intentionally.
I want to look like I just put my head inside a washer.
I want it to have some poof.
I want it because if it looks nice, people might talk to me.
My hair does look nice. Don't give me that. I have wonderful, like, feathery hair.
What color is it?
It's gray. Won't wear that.
What color is your hair? It's Rogaine.
6 years. Ain't working.
Well, no, it's more of if I'm going to do an idea specifically for somebody, I'm not going to do it for free because I have a lot of my own ideas, and if I'm taking time away from the things that I'm passionate to do things for, it may not be something I'm passionate for. So if I don't have all that type of motivation and that time and the stuff that I can potentially put on, especially if it's something I can't put on my channel, then it feels like I am spending all my time for somebody else's enjoyment. So that's where I usually look for compensation on something. But also, it's just I have lots of stuff I'd want to do on my time, and so any time taken away from that is, to me, it's just taking away from my time. So, but most of the times I just tell people no. But I have considered opening up some commissions for Rathalos stuff. But normally any of the ones I've done, I usually give a number that is large just because I value my time. And if they say no, then whatever, I just go back to doing my own stuff. So, but if they really wanted to do it, then it at least makes it so it's worth my time. So, because like here, I was doing some projects for other people, though those are friends and people that I really like. So I was working on projects that did have a passion behind it, and those were just something I did for free. But that was different because it just sounded like a really cool, fun project. So then I had some kind of better. Some personal motivation to work on it. But otherwise, most commissions are like, I can you do this and this with my OC, or can you do this and this? And if it's not something it sounds interesting to me, then I don't know if I'll have fun doing it. Not the same way I would be like, I did one commission not long ago for a questionnaire narrator. Not that long ago, it was like 2 years ago. But his request was for something that was very similar to something I already kind of wanted to do. So there was a passion before it. So I gave him actually a really low ball number on it. But then he gave me a lot more anyway. But I spent a lot of time on that, and for the time I put into it, I was only getting like $2 an hour for the time. So in the end, it just was fun. That was my payment. I don't know about being unhappy, but if I'm having to work on something because you're commissioned to do it, then you feel obligated to put time into it, even the time that you don't want to put into it. Derpy for Mike.
Yay.
Well, aren't you nice to him for?
Not for you. That's my Derpy.
But no, because like when I'm working on my own stuff, it's nice because if I don't feel like working on it, I just won't. I stream is nice because this is the time where I feel obligated, but not in a bad way, to work on stuff. But when you have, if I'm doing a commission or something, it's going to be usually off stream, which means it's my time. So if I'm spending 10 hours doing something, how much do I value 10 hours of my time? And so that's what and I've gotten pretty good at estimating how long things are going to take. Scope creep aside. That definitely takes longer, but if I know what it is I'm going to do, I'm pretty good at estimating the time. But I really value my time. So, I mean, I spend my time doing bullshit stuff, so it's not like I make use of that time, but I do value it. Oh, there's this gap in her talking here. No, the Rathalos stuff I don't mind doing commissions for because those are really easy and quick. And I'm such in a restricted audio bit that it would be interesting to just kind of go outside that box a little bit, but I have a feeling that a lot of requests are going to be for things that I would require a lot of extra work, like things that involve some type of flying, because I don't have a base flying animation for him, so I'd have to make one. That's a lot of initial investment that I would have to put into it. Woo, poopy word. But if it's just about him saying something, those are super. I can do those in like an hour or two, so I don't mind doing those for cheap. But if it's like, can you have him like do the Macarena or something? I'm like, well, if I want to make that look good, that's going to take a very long time. There was one person that wanted a kind of like on here, like for when these pop up. I just clicked it again. So when those pop up, they wanted one to have like Rathalos swoop in and kind of do something and then fly away. And I'm like, that would be interesting, but a glide is a lot easier in flight, and I could do that, but that would probably, I'm pretty sure the person would want to like pay for like 5 to 7 hours of work. So, but who knows? Some people just have a lot of money.
You should put them into Roth IRAs. And pony shipping videos. That possibly involve Derby. I don't know who else. Derby.
And last year I got lucky with my taxes because it's the first time I filed taxes for like YouTube and stuff, and I was able to claim a deduction on the Adobe software that I use, and for my desk space because it's considered my office. And when we put those two together, the deduction ended up being equal, just a little bit over the amount to pay nothing on the taxes. So I didn't have to pay taxes on it officially last year. But this year is, I don't think I'm going to be in that margin. I think I'm going to actually having to pay taxes in. So, and originally I was going to up my my W-4 compensation. But then I'm like, no, well, why should I give them my money early? I'll just hold on to the money, do whatever I want with it, and then when taxes come around, I'll have to pay a larger sum at once, but then I am free to use it however I want until then. I'm not going to give them a loan. Let's life roll in your back, except for death, paying tax, everyone in life. Yeah. But before that, I really was never filing my taxes for YouTube stuff because it was always so minuscule. Last year was where I felt comfortable actually going through and doing it. Is it a bird?
I think it's some kind of bird.
Yeah, it's a bird. It sounds like a squeaky wheel.
It almost sounds like it's in pain or something.
But no, most years it's the amount that I make on YouTube and Twitch was counterbalanced by the amount that I was making or spending for Adobe products and other things. So it ended up balancing out to where I was net zero. Last year was a little bit up, but it still was enough that I didn't have to pay the taxes. But this year, I'm almost 100% sure I'm going to be up too high. Ooh. That got turned up.
There's a squirrel bird. They won't get along too well. There's a squirrel.
Oh, you can open those up now. I had to close it because the
I'm scared of the squirrel.
Where is he?
Right there. Oh, he just took off.
There you go. No, I had to shut it because there was a mower.
It's a red squirrel.
Yeah.
Hey, it's got red squirrels up here?
Yeah.
We got gray squirrels back in Kentucky.
Yeah, but you've learned many, many times that Minnesota is better than Kentucky. Because we have hot dish.
Those are an invasive species.
Hmm?
Red squirrels are an invasive species to the U.S. Or is it the other way around?
They're not invasive if they've been here long enough.
I think gray squirrels are the invasive species, but I can't remember which one it is. I know one of them is.
Kentucky is invasive.
No, he's on the tree. Is that a different one?
You should go and tell him to get off our lawn.
Squirrels? Okay. They're fighting. There's two of them. They're making noise at each other.
They wouldn't be that loud unless they were being threatening. Otherwise, they're just... You know, it sounds like it's like a squeaky toy, like a dog just biting on it. Like...
They're anger at each other. The anger squirrels.
There's like trees. We have a tree line just outside the window, so there's a lot of squirrels and stuff over there.
There's squirrel battles.
Yes. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
Yes. No, he's not happy.
Well, one of them wanted to watch Housewives, but then the other one put on wrestling, and now they're just like bringing up past stuff, and they're. I think this is it. I think they're done. Maybe we should call the cops for a domestic disturbance.
I mean, the one over there is really throwing a fit. Oh, here comes the other one down the tree again. He's like, "You stay off my lawn."
He went to go get the other one's stuff, and he's gonna go throw it out in the front door.
I gotta see this.
Though you can't really see it because like. Okay, this is about the farthest I can move it.
Yeah.
I don't know if.
Wait, the one's off the tree now.
Yeah, because the tree they've been using is the one right out the window, right there.
He's on the steps.
He's on the steps?
Yeah.
Oh, so he's going to attack? Wait, okay, so we need to watch this for when Michael dies.
He's a fight squirrel. Oh, eyes over the tree again. Oh, he is throwing a fit.
Michael's play-by-play of squirrel action. Oh, he's coming back.
What are you doing?
They wanted to see your reaction, or when you died.
When I died.
And that is the room.
They're facing off out there. They got squirrel problems.
First squirrel problems.
No. You're too proud of yourself.
Open the windows though, so that it's then they can hear all the squirrel action.
Oh my! You gotta pay extra for that channel.
May Mike rest in peace. Yes, he is dead. He died while he was over there.
Squirrels, they jump through the window, attack. I was gonna ask, what would it cost to get a pony video made where you have 2 derbies and a muffin?
You mean like 2 girls, 1 cup?
No!
That sounds like where you're going.
I mean like a shipping
Don't do
video,
that.
but there's 2 derbies and they're in love with a muffin.
And what are they doing with the
They're
muffin?
kissing the muffin.
They're kissing the muffin.
And then biting it. Because it's a muffin.
Okay. No.
My ideas are amazing.
It's one object interacting with another, and now you have 2 things interacting with a single
2
object.
derbies, 1 muffin.
That is 2 girls, 1 cup.
It's not, because it's not nasty.
Do you want the muffin in the cup?
There's no cup!
Hey, I'm making this. I'm putting it in a damn cup.
2 derbies, 1 cup. No. It's a bad video. This is a cute video with 2 derbies. And their love affair with a muffin. That is mutual.
No, that's one of my favorite favorite things of how much for a commission. It's like, okay, you need to provide me more information. There's a difference between can you have them wave and say hi and I need you to reenact the Matrix. I mean, there's different levels.
Pretty sure there's already a pony video out there that does that.
Epic Spike.
Yeah.
Which I realized later that I think it's Epic Spike that has 30% of the video is remembrance. Like somewhere in there, he just puts that video, and it has 7 million views, and I have the ability to take it down if I want. And I have never watched it. YouTube has the ability to go through something where it scoured all the YouTube videos, and it shows all the videos that have a video signature that matches something on my channel, and it'll say how much of that video it matches something of my channel, and. So I right now have 7 pages of people that have re-uploaded stuff. Pages of various amounts. After the first page, it gets down to like 100 views, 200 views. But the top 3, it's 7 million, 500,000, and 400,000. No porn. Twitch will ban.
Who's talking about porn? Except the squirrels outside, I think. In their squirrel language. I just wanted a cute shipping video, and I thought, what would be a better thing to have Derpy ship with than a muffin? And I thought that would be cute, but you know what would be cuter than 1 derby is 2 derbies.
What about 3?
That's too many derbies. There's only 1 muffin.
Wait. So can somebody clip that phrase?
I mean, you would need more
There's
muffins.
too many derpy. You need more muffins.
You would need more muffins.
So like 4 derpy,
2 muffins, at least.
So 4 girls, 2 cups.
Muffins, and they're just kissing the muffin and eating the muffin.
That sounds like a fetish.
I don't know how. It's a really weird fetish. I just want cute derbies.
Well, you could be doing other things that wouldn't require them kissing food sensually.
Well, they could be kissing each other, but it doesn't feel right. They need some kind of in-between, and the muffin would work. I'm thinking this through. I'm putting way more thought into it than should ever have occurred.
So you're basically making the muffin like a third wheel.
It's a buffer. It's not a third wheel. It's very much involved in this whole relationship. I mean, But if they like were eating the muffin, like Lady and the Tramp, and they kissed after they ate the muffin, that would be awesome. Tell me that's not a good idea, stream. Two derpies eating one muffin. You don't count. Rebel.
I'm just putting what you told me to put.
No.
Tell me that's not a good idea, stream. I typed it.
I don't know what was clipped. The best idea ever.
There we go.
Where two derpies kiss after eating a muffin.
Michael has the best clips because all of it is just going to make sure he never gets public office.
That's true.
Like, so it says here that you enjoy busty what?
No, that's not. I said Sunset Shimmer would be, if she was a 13-year-old, she would be a very busty 13-year-old. She's not 13. She's 35. We've established this.
No, you. That's like in Japanese where they're like, she's 21. She's not 21.
Clearly, she's 35. She has to be. It doesn't make sense otherwise.
Because she is, because it would make sense. Magical Horse Show, Michael.
Yes.
It doesn't have to make sense. Meaning,
Says the person who got rid of the fire.
because I'm trying to have it make sense.
Me too.
Well, headcanon is different than like physical.
It's not headcanon. It's the only way it makes chronological sense. As if she was like sent there in her early 20s and it's been like 15 years. So she's 35. Minimum.
If you wanted to have it make sense, you could say 30s. It's headcanon when you pick a very specific number and also one that is immensely close to your own age.
When I first said
You're
35,
like,
when I was first at 35 though, I was 34. So
yeah, that's close to your own age, because you know they're one number apart.
I'm not good at math. One from me.
You do electrical engineering work and you're not good at math? How are you alive? 4 plus 4.
27.
That's good. You get 44. You just mash them together. It's like glue for numbers.
I got through college and then I was just like, math, I don't need it no more. And I immediately just got it all out of my brain by drinking lots of alcohol. It worked.
Alcohol makes you feel smarter.
Yes.
But it also makes you feel warmer, but you aren't.
Good. Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you are or aren't. And I feel like I'm good at math. Yes, you missed everything. The 2 Twilights he has up on the screen made out. It was amazing. You missed it.
Well, we know who to believe on this one.
Me.
Because you enjoyed something. You don't enjoy things. You're just Mr. Anger.
I know, I'm always just filled with rage. And the source of rage. Just like the squirrels.
Yeah, they're gone, apparently.
Yeah, they stopped yelling at each other. I think the one squirrel won. That's his tree now. That is the appropriate. I don't know what it means to consensually eat a muffin. And the muffin had to sign a waiver first.
Let's go.
See, now I keep just thinking about that sentient muffin from those one YouTube videos.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
I mean, that's what I've been wanting the entire time he's been making this video, is for him to turn Quiet into therapy, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
Let's go.
Some dreams are just never meant to be.
Let's go lunch.
I do want that muffin to be alive now, though. He gave me ideas. In this video, that's never gonna happen. I said, they gave me ideas, and in this video, that's never gonna happen. I want the muffin to be alive now.
And just screaming the entire time?
No, it's that muffin that wanted to die.
So screaming.
Maybe. Depends. They may be laughing. As
it's dying?
Yes.
So you both want
It's cheerful.
fetish and vor?
No! It's a muffin! It's not vor when you eat a
But
muffin.
as soon as you give it a personality, it becomes vor.
I'm gonna name all the food in the fridge. And everything.
But if you start like walking out here with raw ribs, like with a face drawn on it,
a little mustache.
derp-de-dur.
My name is Gregory the Ribs. See, I've already named the ribs.
You get in the oven, Gregory.
Let's go.
Amazing.
Let's go lunch.
Lord. It's a muffin. Just happens to be sapient.
See, he realized that what he was saying was kind of weird, so he just tried to make everything else weird, so he became normal.
That's how it works. If everybody else is weird, then you're the new norm. I think all my ideas are amazing. It's a few posts. It is kind of interesting to think what my commission would look like if you'd ever be one. And right now it's gotten pretty weird.
It would never happen. Because no matter what, even if I ever open up commissions for Rathalos stuff, if it's something that doesn't sound like it would be something I would enjoy doing in some way, I'm not going to do it. Which means I'm probably going to be pissing some people off because it could be like, why'd you choose them and not them? Type thing. Well, you're gonna get that. It would just come down to also like if that guy's willing to pay more, money talks too. But I don't know. One day.
What would be the price for a two derpies eating a muffin while wearing socks video?
Where did the socks come in?
Just now. All the monies. All the mic money. I can get you lots of mic money.
Lots of mic money? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. No.
I'll give you all the mic dollars.
No, we're not doing mic dollars.
Let's go lunch
Yeah.
lunch the rocket.
Mic money has a high value. You can exchange at any time for more mic money.
Go launch the rocket.
So I'm trying to get the timing on this to be a
Go
little bit more,
launch the
not just like smoothly going A to B, where it's more when the mouth opens that there's more anticipation and faster open and shut.
Let's go launch the
I just wanted this one, but
launch the rocket. Go launch the launch the rocket. Launch the rocket. Let's go launch the rocket.
Jurassic last time made Mike money.
Yes.
Where he? Oh, he just sent me a DM of it, I think.
Yeah, it's just on the $9.
This is Mike Dollars.
You could have all of that. All you made my video. All of that one Mike Dollar. I could print it off myself.
Launch the rocket. Launch the rocket. Go launch. Let's go launch the rocket. Launch the rocket. Let's go launch the rocket. Rocket.
Because I'm okay with this being longer, but she has to have her mouth closed faster.
Yay, derps.
Yes.
The rocket. The rocket.
Okay, let's see how this looks with motion.
It's in. Let's go launch the rocket.
She definitely needs a
You could like trot excitedly in place.
I thought about having her do that, but it would have required more time. So that's why I thought it. I need to have her smile for longer.
evil grin.
Oh yeah, I was planning to keep that. Why do your eyes move?
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go launch the rocket.
For this, her eyes should actually be locked to. I don't know why it doesn't actually.
Let's go launch.
For one, it's right here. That's the break point. I think I moved my bookmarks for her too. Yeah, I did. Actually, the timing changed. No, actually, for her model, it should be this. Nope, they moved. Okay.
It's in.
I probably have her do a little bounce there too. So let's just remember you were working on this project, or did I get it wrong? This is less. Oh no, no, I've still got probably a couple more. I did start rendering this out, but
Really?
I rendered up until this because I knew I was going to be poking at it afterwards. So, and actually, this took about, it was just a little over a minute. That took about 4 hours. It was actually a lot quicker than I thought it was going to be.
That's not bad.
And that's at 4K 128 on passes. So it was actually pretty quick.
What's your frame rate?
30.
30.
But even this, like, I need to figure out how I want to do this ground stuff first. Because when I do this, I have to do it with the floor, to render with the floor and without the floor, and then mask. Which should actually be a little easy, because once it goes to here, I can't see anything back here. So it actually should be pretty easy. And then this right here acts as the barrier, because this is actually a part of the model thing. I think this is the lip, and so that'll be my barrier for the floor behind it. So when I get rid of it, because I have to add something to have this sink into. But no, I will be working on this more. It's just, I've been, normally most of the stuff I work on is on stream, but then yesterday I tried to get on the Discord, like ran a public chat like once a week at least, and that was yesterday. And so I was in there for a couple hours just working on stuff on here, and had a bunch of people popping up just to watch me do this. Really, that was about it. Just have her ride the elevator.
Yeah, she's so happy. She's going, wee.
That actually reminds me, I need to have, just so I don't accidentally miss the timing, I need to have her lock the elevator again. Actually, no, that we just play head. I do have to adjust her legs. Actually, I should do that now, because as soon as I start animating her, it's going to cause problems. The nice thing is, I should be able to grab any shot, adjust the leg to that new position, and have it work. Because they all are about the same. Nope. I gotta actually lock the foot though. So that leg is now high enough. This one is harder. I'm right at that like awkward spot, but I have to have her at the center because otherwise the elevator doesn't make any sense. So we're gonna take back leg. We're gonna just shift it over a little bit. I think I don't. I just leave it at that. Nice thing about hiding behind the cloth. This one still clipping a little bit, but that's fine. It's flesh. This one I think is too much.
Those aren't flesh. They're not supposed to be.
It's squishy.
They do have squishy marshmallow hooves.
Okay, and then this one needs to come up a little bit.
It's in.
Actually, the beginning part, she is not bent correctly on that front leg. Okay, I need to fix your eye. It's still twitching. I thought I grabbed the bone for that. Oh. There it is. Okay, I think I am good to just blend. It's funny, she's one of the voice lines from her that I could never really find a way to use is her talking about finding a brain and then throwing it in the blender, and she's just like blending and getting all excited because it's congealed, and being a scientist is about hiding freeze rays everywhere. Because one of them was just in something.
Yes. Gotta have your freeze rays.
Because it was, after it's congealed, she needed it solid, so just freeze ray it and call it good. The one I thought about using at the very, very end of this, like the credits cut type thing at the end, is after the mission that you get for her. When you go to turn it in, normally they just say one really stupid line or something, and then you're done with the quest. For her, she just says, "What if dogs could talk?"
Yes.
And it has Spike.
Yes, it's true.
Just have him go bark, or
and it's kind of what if dogs could talk and just have Spike have survived somehow in horrible pain, saying something.
She just like grabs him by the hoof behind, like in the Weekend at Bernie's town, like, "I'm okay." That would be morbid.
That would be a little morbid. Yes. Also funny.
So I like to determine where the model locked at the pedestal. How could I do this? So there's problems with hooves going over the ground. So if you hit lock on anything, because there's two different states that a bone or a model can be in, and you could say that it's locked and unlocked, but in both states they're locked. It's just what are they locked to? So when you click the lock button, you're locking it to the world, and so it is no longer going to pay attention to its other other default lock. For like a bone, when you move a shoulder, say, all the bones that go after it and move behind it are considered locked to it. So its world is whatever the rotation is of its parent, and and that parent's rotation is a zero value of whatever its parent is. So you have to think of the locks like that. So in this case, if I click lock, it's going to then ignore the parent, and it's going to now rotate like, or let me go like shoulder, but if I lock forearm, it's now no longer going to follow parent because it's locked to the world. There are ones that default to locking to the world, which is like the root transform. But if I lock it to something else, then that's its new world. So if you want to stop a hoof from moving, you can lock it to the world, but then the bones will no longer match up. That's what keyframing is good for. Either you can use an IK rig, but I'm not a big fan of the IK rigs for the ponies. IK rigs are inverse kinematics, so it's where the certain extremities are locked to the world, but when you move something, it tries to create or to figure out what the bone should move with. With the ponies, to make the bones bend right, because the bones, the elbow and the knees aren't at the midpoint, they're at a farther point, they don't work very well. So you have to, I'd usually break the bones to make them work, and rigs don't let you break them. So I'll usually just do keyframing, where I'll just figure out all the different poses and position all the bones in it where I need to match those poses, and then when I blend it, it just works. I'll usually still keep it locked to wherever it was when I put it there, because otherwise it might cause a little shake. But yeah, just click the little lock button, and if you don't see the lock button, go to the gear, and I think it's the select. No, oh no, the gear. Oh, sorry, the locks are always there. It's the visible and selectable that are removable. So hopefully that answered your question. That's what I was doing here. And you can lock any part of it. Sometimes I'll lock the chest 1 or chest 2 so that I can move pelvis without affecting the front of the body. Done it fast as before, but how do you deal with the models breaking when you use the undo command after shrinking or enlarging their sizes? Are you talking about how the jiggle bones do that? I'm guessing that's what you mean. And the reason that well, the undo command, I don't know. Oh, I think so are you talking when you have a model that's scaled? So when you lock something, so when you have a scale on a part of a model, all its children will inherit that scale change. So that's why if I go to like add a scale change on the leg here, it's going to shrink the whole leg. But if I lock the ball, it's now not going to inherit that size change. If I undo it though, it will. But it now inherits the size change, but it's still maintaining its old XYZ. When you change the scaling on something, it will move its X and YZ to match with it. But in this case, because it was locked, its XYZ is still where it originally was. So you do have to be careful if you have a model like say like I did the scaling on the pelvis, so the entire model is scaled, and then I locked the shoulder and the ball. I have to be careful the order that I unlock them. If I unlock it ball then shoulder, that is fine. But if I unlock shoulder then ball, I think, yeah, if I do shoulder then ball, you're actually going to change the shape of the leg. So you have to be kind of careful that anytime you have multiple locks in a row on a scaled model, that you start from the outermost point and work your way. No. Yeah. I can't remember. It matters. I'm not going to remember right now. But for that, it's, if you want to ensure that they don't go back to the original size, add a scaler to that whatever bone that's locked, and or that is different, and you're just going to have to scale it to match whatever the parent is. And that, but when you unlock it, you'll just have to remove that scale or put it to 1, because if you have multiple bones in a row that are inheriting scales, it's going to scale to whatever the parent scale is, because the parent is always default. So you can see the parent is always the 0 value of everything. So if you have a bone that's 10% smaller and then it has a child that it has its own 10% shrink, it's going to be the 10% plus the 10%, or not exactly, but it's going to be about that. So you have to be careful with some of that. I don't undo that though, because I don't want shoulder scale. And then there's also the problem with jiggle bones, where when you're scaling, for instance here, this is going to be not quite the same because, well, maybe. Okay, so this one worked because I think that the hair, how the parent works. But normally, because jiggle bones are dynamic, they're not locked to anything, so their parent isn't quite the same structure. So when you have a scale on something, the jiggle bones don't get that info. So when you shrink it down, the jiggle bones might go back to their original size, and if you make them really big, they might go smaller. And sometimes if it's too big, it might actually collapse in on itself and become a black hole that you can't recover from. It'll literally break the texture. The only way to fix that is do all your animating at normal size, and then lock the jiggle bones, or bake your procedural bones. Go to utilities, and then that would be why it didn't do this. No, yeah, that would be why this was not doing that, because it was, whoa. I might have to hold off on that, but normally the procedural bones would do that. But if you bake them first, then they are a bone that's in order with all the other bones, and it will scale correctly. Using doing a scaled object, the main returns to normal size and the body stays small. Yeah, so that's what actually just what I explained then. So just whatever at the normal size, just bake it when it's at the normal size, and then do your scaling after that. If it's baked, you're fine. If you change the model by like 10% size, you usually can get away with it not being a problem. It'll still scale differently, but it's hard to notice. It's one of the things in oh, that's why I look weird. In this, oh, it's perfect. This was the shot I wanted too. So, Pip, I wanted smaller than all the other ponies, but I wanted to maintain the procedural bones, so I shrunk her by 10%, and I was able to still work with her hair. It's a little smaller than the normal, but it kind of works. And then everybody else, I increased by 10%. So it created a 20% disparity, approximately 20% disparity between the two sizes, which was much more distinct, but both of them were only changing by 10% of their base, so it still let all the jiggle bones work fine with them. It just meant that the bigger ponies were, which is really just these two, would have jiggle bones that worked, but it didn't really matter because all it was their tail. It just meant their tails were a little bushier because they would be... Oh no, so Pip would have had more hair. Yeah, Pip would have had more hair, and they would have had a little bit less. So they were less bushy, and Pip was more bushy.
Bushy tails and manes.
But yeah, that's how I did that, to try to make that match.
It's in!
Okay, so it's not going to be worth blending this right now.
Let's go launch the rocket!
Look at all those ears.
Launch
With the wiggling of the ears.
the rocket!
Because I think I unbaked the jiggles, so now they'll wiggle.
Let's go launch the rocket!
They're a little overly wiggly, but they're only overly wiggly because it's like a Five Nights at Freddy's face. Because she's not moving, she's jumping instantly from one position to another, so the ears just are like, whoa, what happened?
Rocket!
her video.
Somebody had said before of to do. There we go.
Oh, that's creepy.
I had it for a while. I was checking to see, like, I had the camera actually following with her, so that she looked like she was in place, and you just kind of like rose up, but then it looked like the whole room was moving and you weren't. So it didn't work. No, it is. We'll see what comes of it, but some people were saying it's very meme worthy, but it all just depends. Is the ground visible? Oh, I think it is.
That works.
Now fire the rocket!
That face. She's so happy.
Yeah.
Now fire
No, she's not happy.
the rocket!
Okay, but I am overtime, so I spent like hours working on stuff yesterday and then today, so I should probably take a break. Now Kitty's outside, so we have. You can probably see it's Kitty.
That is Kitty. He comes out at night to give us cat happy.
He just kind of sits there.
I think he's pooping.
No, he's looking into the trees.
I don't know.
No, it's not my cat. It's my neighbor on that side. It's their cat. And every now and then, like something happens where the cat gets like hurt or something and just makes this loud squeal, and then the neighbor comes running out trying to find their cat, and I'm like, that's kind of the, they're outside, things are gonna happen, but every time it happens they're just back out the next day. So I went outside the other day and I was just chill, and the cat was just laying out on the deck and just stared at me the whole time like, what are you doing? But okay, but I'm done. So who's the cat in your ending gif? That is it's actually a pretty famous YouTube cat. Like Midu I can't remember his name. It's like a 4-letter word starts with M. I can't remember it. It could be Q or something like that. No, it's not keyword cat. But that GIF actually is much longer than, or that came. That was a GIF like meme thing that I saw a while back. That's where that came from. But there's a much longer video, like much longer lead up and follow up after that. But it's after, or the cat very quickly after that cuts off will like churn and do some stuff. It's much funnier with the cut. Yeah, the sun's still up. The sun is still up for another like
couple minutes.
No, you still see it way up in the trees there.
Oh.
No, the sun's probably up for another like half hour or so. I'm in the north. I'm in northern U.S. So in the summer we tend to have this. The sun itself will be up past 9 for midsummer. But then in the winter it sets at like 4. Oh yeah, and if you're far enough north, you can get it all day. Not quite that far north. I'm not Canadian or anything. But that is it for me. So have your kitty, and And I will be back on Friday. Hopefully, I'm going to try to do some more stuff for the next couple of days, and this time I might actually do it because I did yesterday. So we'll see. Bye bye. Have a good week.